Hello everybody. Today we are going to be talking about, you know what we're talking about. We're talking about the Super Bowl. We're talking about the, look, we got a smudge on your face, excuse me. A little better? A little bit better. Yeah. We're talking about the Super Bowl. Why? Because the Super Bowl is happening, which means the season of the NFL is ending. And I know it's only one game, so it's not really that much to predict, but I'm going to ramble. And I'm also going to talk, before we get into the rambling and before we get into the predictions, I'm going to get talking about the previous year that I've had in terms of predicting. Let's see, when I got to week 18, I finished the regular season with a record of 169 correct with 103 wrong. Now, I realize that there might be a couple games on that list that I straight up don't have a prediction for, didn't account for, because I think that number is wrong, but either way, this is the correct number for the games that I predicted. So I got 169 right and 103 wrong, so it's not awful. Most right. Well, more right than not, I should say. Then we got to the divisional round. And what did we get right? Let's see, we got that one right. We got the Cincinnati game right. This pen isn't working. Let's find a new pen. Alright, this pen is working. We got that one right. We got the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Las Vegas Raiders right. We got the Buffalo Bills beating the New England Patriots right. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the Philadelphia Eagles, right? I put an upset maybe there. And we got the Dallas Cowboys game wrong. Straight up wrong. Kansas City game was right. The Los Angeles game was right. So I basically got one wrong that weekend. Technically, I picked those two, but it was more like just because I thought they were being upset. It wasn't really like, so I got 5 right. 5 and 1, which adds on to the previous total of 169. Nice. Oh wait, just the wrong number. 174. Over 104. I apologize for that. And at that point, let's see. Moving on to the next week. Throat is a bit parched. I apologize if it sounds raspy, and also if I end up clearing my throat on accident. We had the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Tennessee Titans, so that one's right, that's 1. And we had the Bills beating the Kansas City Chiefs, so that's wrong, but most people here, that would have happened if the coin toss went the other way. So that's 1 wrong, and then we got the Rams beating the Bucks right, and then we got the Packers beating the 49ers wrong, so we got 2 and 2. 2 and 2, which brings the 176 over 106. So still a 70 pick lead. Over. It's still a 70 pick advantage over picking wrong words. Moving on after that, it was the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Cincinnati Bengals, and I admit I got this one wrong, and I'm happy I did. I'm happy I got this one wrong. I'm happy I did, because I was rooting for the Bengals, and I'm still rooting for the Bengals. If you can't see, I got a whole. I've had this. This is not like I got this. I've had this. That's not like just a Bengals thing. I just happen to have this shirt. It's. I don't know why I'm explaining my shirt to you. You're not here for me to explain my shirt to you. You're here to listen to my football rambles. For whatever numerous reasons, whatever many reasons you have, or none. If you're still this far in the video and you have no reason to be here, why? Thanks for being here, but why? gonna make it worthwhile the rest of it though, so stick around. I got the Los Angeles Rams beat the San Francisco 49ers like expected, so I went 1-1 on the week, which brings my total to 177 over 107. So we got Casey. What the son of a gun. What do I do? I scribble on a page and I can't really erase it. I got it. Fixed it. There, made it look better, right? Now made the thing actually make sense. The smallest versus ever, and then we got oh gosh, this is atrocious. Are you ready for this though? Got to add some pizzazz, some unnecessary pizzazz. That's what this channel is all about though, isn't it? I'm sorry, I'm acting a darn fool. We have the Cincinnati darker color versus the Los Angeles Rams non-dark color. Notice this right here. That's the Ram helmet. That's the Ram helmet right there. Nowhere else are you gonna see this level of creativity. I'm 8 minutes into the dang thing, and I haven't even said a dang word about the game. Let's make it 9 minutes. Actually, let's not. So we got Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Joe Franchise, Joe Burrow with the EUX, versus Matt Stafford. What's it? What like frat Matt? What like the Soul Eater? That's the recent one. What does Matt Stafford have in terms of nicknames? Motorhead Matt, like he's in Detroit. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Motor Matt? No, it's stupid. No. I don't know. No idea. That's not important. They're both really good quarterbacks. So probably about half of you that are watching are listening for the sake of me talking, and then the other half are listening for the sake of my football takes. So I have to explain, I think, everything right now. So the Bengals are, in my opinion, the team of Providence. They were the third seed, I think it was, but they were the worst team in football 2 years ago. So they've come a long way very fast. Versus the Los Angeles Rams, which is a team that drafts well, but with their first round picks, they always trade them away. They always trade them to what is it? They always trade them to some other team for a superstar player. Sorry, I got distracted in my head there. They always trade them for a superstar player. They've got a pretty good record of doing it. They drafted some well. They drafted a few while ago, and then they realized their nucleus is really good, and they just keep adding to that nucleus, and then just draft well in the later rounds, and it's been working for them. They recently used those first round picks to trade for their new quarterback in Matthew Stafford. This is his first year with the team, and his first year outside of Detroit, and honestly, I'm happy for him. He deserves the Super Bowl. Does he deserve to win? I guess. I don't know. I think everyone deserves to win, basically. The Rams will be missing their starting tight end. And the Bengals will be potentially missing their starting tight end as well. He is still undecided. I don't know if there's any other major injuries that I'm forgetting. The Rams are missing a tackle as well. I think it's Havenstein. I think that's his name. I'm not 100% sure. I might be wrong. The Rams are the better team on the paper. They have talent. They also traded for Von Miller, phenomenal edge rusher who's been very helpful to them. And I think he's an X factor in the game. The Rams consist. Let me give you the rundown of the teams, I guess. The Rams on defense, which is where there's technically where their strong suit is, in my opinion. Starting from the top, they have Aaron Donald, who's arguably the best defensive tackle in football. He's just a penetrating defensive tackle. He gets through the offensive line so fast, especially in pass rushing. He's very good at leverage and quickness. He's also kind of mean, which is a good thing in a defensive lineman. But he gets a little extra mean. But just regardless. They also have Leonard Floyd on the same defensive line. He's an outside linebacker, but he rushes the passer. He's good. He used to play with the Chicago. He's a good edge rusher. I've never understood him or thought him to be great, but he's been good. Von Miller is the other guy that, like I said, they traded for him. I think they traded a second-round pick to Denver for him. Phenomenal edge rusher. One of history's best edge rushers, in my opinion. He sometimes teleports behind a tackle, and I feel like he's going to do it at least once this game. He's the best at doing, what are they called? Oh, excuse me. They're the best at doing strip sacks. Von Miller is the best at strip sacks since John Abraham, in my opinion. In addition to that, I can't recall their linebackers' names, and I'm kind of upset about myself for that, for not knowing those. Usually I'm pretty good at knowing them just offhand without having to look up. In the safety backfield, they have Taylor Rapp. I don't know if he's still injured, but I know the man starting is Eric Weddle, who was somebody who was retired from football for 2 years until about 2 or 3 weeks ago, when their starting safety got injured. So they called him in, and he's since stepped in as their starting safety, calling plays and leading the team in tackles. In the postseason, this postseason. Jalen Ramsey is one of the best corners in the league, top 3 always, and he's phenomenal with all parts of the game, except catching the ball. It's the only thing he's not great at, and that's been like his whole career basically. He's glue though. He is glue. They've used him more in the slot this year than other years, so he could be closer to the ball and affect more things, or cover, I guess, more routes, kind of. It's worked, but they've also moved him around sometimes, not as much. But the question is, are they gonna use him to follow the Bengals' best receiver? Some say he will, some say he won't. I don't think he's gonna follow him, especially not the whole game. He's gonna be covering him sometimes. I feel like it might be the second half. I don't know. I'm speculating too much right now. He's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal corner and one of the best in the game. So they have a very good defense. And then on offense, they have the what is he? A gunslinger? Nah, he's like a strong arm. Nah, I don't know. Slinger. He's a what do they call those? He's a got an arm cannon. They're led by a man with a cannon for an arm, and Matthew Stafford, recently traded from Detroit to the Rams. He's a very good deep passer, not mobile, but doesn't really need to be. Very good. He's very good. He's spent years in the league and he's done a bunch of the small things right. He's not a phenomenal quarterback in my opinion. Like, he's not a top 3. I don't think he's ever been a top 3 guy, but he's always been like a fringe top 10 100% of the time. But he's been like top 10 probably most of the time. Especially this year, I think he was definitely top 10. And then in the backfield, they have a 3-headed monster in Darrell Henderson, Sonny Michel, and it's Darrell Henderson. Wish I already see that name. Cam Akers. Cam Akers is the other name. Cam Akers recently, like about 5-6 months ago, tore his Achilles, and he's playing the game because he's recovered already. Incredible, honestly. He's had a case of the fumbles, which I expected because, being at a football, you're gonna get a case of the fumbles unless you've been doing the fumble training, which most likely most running backs don't. He might be past that already. He might not. He might fumble in this game. But I don't think he will. The Rams also have a very good O-line, with Whitworth at the left tackle position, the Walter Payton Man of the Year award recipient this year. I cannot recall for the life of me the rest of their guards. I knew Havenstein was a tackle, but he's out. I apologize for that. The tight end, Tyler Higbee, he is out. And what's his name? Oh, what is it? Well, I can't remember what his name is. It was something. Let's look at it later. I forget what his name is. The backup tight end. I cannot remember what his name is, but I was looking at it earlier. He is playing in the starting in lieu of the Tyler Higbee. The receiving core is in my opinion the best this year in football. Okay. Their number 1 receiver is Cooper Kupp. He is a slot receiver. He moves outside sometimes, but he is a slot receiver. They play him in the slot more often than probably anybody else, like in the league. He's electric. He knows it. He knows like teams. He knows defenses. Like he can read a defense usually before a snap, but then after a snap, he's also very good at that, which is why he gets so many yards after contact. Yards after the catch. He's also shifty, which leads to yards after contact. He's not like Meagle of he's weak. Feeble. Feeble, that's the word. He's not weak and feeble. He's a strong guy. Very good route runner too. There's a reason he did he get 2,000 yards? There's a reason he got 2,000 yards this year, even with the extra game. Like he might have fell just short. I can't quite remember, but like he was right there with it, which basically means 2,000 yards, which is super impressive. Slot guy. Really, he's going to be electric because he's going to be lined up against Eli Apple for most of the game, and Eli Apple is not a phenomenal corner. He's got some real good moments recently, but he's not a phenomenal corner. So Cup's going to have something happen at least. They've also got Odell Beckham Jr., who's a really, really good number 2. Like a really, really good number 2. He's pretty darn fast. He's pretty decent with his route running. His catching is one of the best in the league, especially with his catching that he shouldn't catch. He's very good at that. He's arguably one of the best at that. Which made him one of the faces for the wide receiver position, even though he was never a top 3 guy, in my opinion. Top 10 maybe, but never top 3. Very, very good at catching the football, though. And very, very good for this offense this year. Very, very good. Mostly because of Robert Woods' injury, because Robert Woods would have been the actual number 1 receiver. Even Cooper Kupp would have still had probably the most receptions, but Robert Woods would have been the number 1 receiver for this team. So he's out. He's been out all year, which is pretty awful. He's a phenomenal receiver, and I've been a Robert Woods fan for a long time. I'm going to be a hipster about this, actually. I like Robert Woods so much that whenever he was on the Bills, I had a theory that when he was traded from the Bills, I think it was to the Rams, with Sammy Watkins, that the reason that the Rams offered or traded away so much wasn't for Sammy Watkins, it was for Robert Woods. But the Rams they wanted Woods more than Watkins, but Watkins' contract was bigger, I think, at the time, or something of that nature, and they wanted to unload it or get a proper return for it. So I'm just trying to say the main reason that the Rams traded with the Bills in that trade was for Robert Woods, in my opinion. And I think as the years have gone on, because I said this at the beginning, at that exact time, I think as the years have gone on, I'm more and more right in that regard. They also have a really, really, really good receiver I like in Van Jefferson. He's just really solid, real quality. Good deep speed, catches the ball well. He does have, he doesn't get targets. I don't know if that means he's getting covered too much, or other guys are just open more. But I like it when his number's called. That's basically the Rams. Moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals, they are the underdogs. Even though they've been playing pretty well all year, they shouldn't be here, regardless, because they were the first overall pick 2 years ago. Their quarterback was the first overall pick. He got injured last year, tore his ACL, and maybe something else. After what was 9, 10, something like that. So he maybe even 7. So he's still not quite a rookie, obviously, but he's not that far removed from being a rookie. Playing lights out football. Got sacked 9 times and still won the game, given it took the other quarterback throwing 3 interceptions. But that's potato. So They've also got a number 1 running back and Joe Mixon, who is a real good between the lines. He's also real good outside, and he can catch the ball too. He's not bad. He's just real good in every area, to be honest. J. Pirine is not a bad backup, but he's not really anything to write home about. It is the Joe Mixon show when it comes to that backfield. However, they mostly rely on their passing game, and I can't blame them when their passing game consists of tight end C.J. Uzomah, who's been recently showing up or exploding on the scene. I'm gonna gloat in fantasy football this year. It was a certain league. I think it was like 10-man. It was a 10-man or something like that. So tight ends were not easily used, and my guy happened to get injured for a good bit of it. So I had to find a tight end to use. But I can't remember what it was, but I had to pick up a tight end in certain weeks. Both weeks that I had to pick up a tight end, I like C.J. Uzomah's matchup. I picked C.J. Uzomah. Both times he got me over 20 fantasy points. That was, I think, the only 2 times in the entire year he got over 20 fantasy points. I might have been wrong. I might be wrong on that, but like very few times did he get over 20. And the only 2 times I played him, he got over 20 for me. So I'm a big C.J. Uzomah fan. Also, it's hard to not be a fan of it when you watch him how he plays, because he's just a big guy who just plays football well, and he's much more nimble than he should be for his size. He might not play due to injury. But I don't know anything about the backup tight end. But they rely more on the receivers anyway. At the number 1 receiver, there is Jamar Chase, their first-round pick this year. He was the 9th? No, 5th. 5th overall pick. He was the 5th overall pick, he was. The first wide receiver selected, the 2nd skill position. He has been worth it. He's everything Joe Burrow wanted and needed. He's an elite receiver. He's a top 5 receiver probably. I'm not guaranteeing that, but I can't immediately think of 5 that are better than him. I can probably think of 3, but I can't think of 5 at the top of my head. So we're just gonna go ahead and say that. I'm gonna guarantee he's a top 10, probably top 5, because I'm not gonna get into that right now. Very good, very, very good receiver. There's nothing he doesn't do well. He's super fast. He's very quick as well. His route running is malicious. He's just so good. He sets up defenders so well with his route running. Him and Justin Jefferson both. Justin Jefferson being the receiver that he went to college with Joe Burrow. They had a dynamic there as well. But Jamar Chase he just seems to have. It's also, I think, a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit bigger. Makes some nice catches too. He's phenomenal. Every part of the game that he does is just real good. Running after the catch too. Like, he doesn't break contact like, elite wise, but he breaks contact sometimes. Phenomenal. If anyone gets followed by Jalen Ramsey, it's going to be that man. I don't think he will be followed by Jalen Ramsey. He might be for a little bit, but not the whole game. And then we got, and at the other side of the ball from him, we got T. Higgins, which is a stupendous possession receiver. He's not the best in terms of getting separation, but oh buddy, is he gonna make contested catches. He's so good. He is so good. Like I said, not the best with separation, but he's decent. He's got some pretty good speed, but he really knows how to play deep balls, and he knows how to just win possessions when the targets that are thrown his way. No complaints about T. Higgins. Then in the slot, we've got Tyler Boyd. I like Tyler Boyd a good bit because he's been fairly reliable. He became less reliable this year in fantasy. I usually use him in other years. I used him this year too, but he kind of let me down near the end there, so I had to rely on some other players. but I can't really blame him. He was the main receiving option there before that. And now he's the third receiving option there, which is not a discredit to him because he's one of the best slot receivers in the game. But he also happens to be lining up next to one of the best number twos and one of the best number ones in the game as well. It's not his fault. Phenomenal route runner after the catch. He can break contact after the catch. He's strong too. Not elite speed, but he's quick. He's not small either in terms of height. That's the Bengals offense. On defense, on the D line, they've got DJ Reader, who's I think one of the best defensive tackles in the game, especially for run stopping. He's a big man, very, very big man. On the edges, they've got Sam Hubbard, who's a big man as well, but not in the same way. A little more nimble big man. And then on the other edge is another big man of the same mold, and Trey Hendrickson, who's a bit quicker, and I honestly didn't like him, most probably because he was a Saint, but that's not important. He's playing real well, and I thought he was just a product of the Saints system, but after this year, it's proven that either he can be used well in the proper system, or he's just a darn good defensive end, and I'm leaning toward he's probably just a darn good defensive end. He's been applying pressure very well. I thought they paid too much for him over the free agency. I was wrong. Very good defensive end. Pass rushing savvy. He's pretty solid in the run game too. Linebacking core, they've got, what's his first name? Was it Luke Wilson? I know Wilson's his last name. It might be Luke, but I know his last name is Wilson. Very good linebacker. Surprisingly good in coverage. Real good at making tackles. He fills in the running lanes well. He's not necessarily like a thumper per se, but he can definitely lay the wood. Corners. They've got Chidobe Awuzie, who's having a phenomenal and electric year as a corner. Honestly, he's turned it on. He was good with the Cowboys, and now that he's with the Bengals, he's just phenomenal, especially man coverage. He's also not bad in zone coverage either. On the other side is Mike Hilton, I think is his name. Mike Hilton of the Steelers, formerly of the Steelers. Very good cover corner as well, more of a man coverage guy from what I remember. The last time he played against Cooper Kupp, I don't know if that's going to be off in this game, but he held him to like one catch. It was last year, and that was with a different quarterback for Cooper Kupp, but it was like one catch, two catches, something like that. They might do that. Either way, that's proof that this is a good corner, and he's also had a good year this year. And then the number 3 guy is Eli Apple, who's his entire career prior to this, he's been a bust. He's been labeled as a locker room cancer. He ruined the Giants. They were already ruined. He was sent to New Orleans for scraps, I think, and then he did all right in New Orleans, but then he was also really bad. Like, he started off all right and then became really, really bad. Really bad. And now he's in Cincinnati, and apparently he's doing well. He's had some bad moments. He's still that bad apple sometimes, but he's also shown that he can be helpful in times. What else? Oh, in safeties, I don't know who the other one is, but I know the main guy is Jesse Bates. Phenomenal safety. Real good. Real good. Great coverage. He's the guy who knocked the pass away from the Chiefs receiver in overtime into the other defender's hands. He's been real good for a while. He was probably the Bengals' best player for a good bit. Like a good many games, he was probably their best guy. before, you know, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow decided to light up the league for a bit. So that prior to them, Jesse Bates was like their guy, the best guy on their team. So looking at like in terms of how each of these teams match up in terms of safeties versus each other, like not safety versus each other. Safeties, the Bengals have the edge. In terms of corners, the Bengals have the edge. In terms of linebackers, the Bengals have the edge. In terms of D-line, the Rams have a severe edge, in my opinion. It's not like, okay, take it back, not a severe edge. It's a pretty moderate edge. So the Bengals technically have an edge in most of the departments, not by much, but the Rams have an edge in a larger department. And then on offense, the Rams have a much better O-line. The Bengals do not. The Bengals have a better receiving core. Yeah. I think I might have just contradicted myself because I think earlier I said the Rams might have the best receiving core. But it's really these two teams have the best receiving cores, honestly, in the league. If I had to pick one, I'm picking the if I'm like, you know, a quarterback, I'm picking the Bengals one because Jamar Chase is a better number one than Cooper Kupp is. I only say that because Cooper Kupp's a slot receiver. Cooper Kupp is phenomenal. There's a reason he got 2,000 yards. But I think my personal taste, I prefer the number one to be like an X or like as an outside guy. Not the inside, not the slot. I mean, you know, the slot's also like super beneficial, but like I'd prefer to have Tyler Boyd in the slot and Jamar Chase on the outside. I also prefer I think T. Higgins and Odell Beckham are about the same. And Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase are honestly about the same. But like I think Tyler Boyd's I personally prefer Tyler Boyd over Van Jefferson, not by a lot. But I do. You know, if Robert Woods was playing, they would have the obvious edge. But I'm giving it to the Bengals on the slight edge there. The quarterback department, I think it's like a wash. I think the Bengals, I like Joe Burrow more than I like Matt Stafford, but like I think they're basically even. Running backs. You could argue that it's because Joe Mixon is the best running back. However, the Rams definitely have the better backfield. So it's whatever. It's either you like a committee by running back, which is what the Rams are going to be doing. But I personally like the Joe Mixon guy and like run because if you have just an electric guy, it makes it easier to get him hot and have a better day. So I'm also leading the Bengals in there. So you know how I said the Rams have the better roster. It's just that it's spread everywhere. Like they have talent everywhere, and then they select like certain stars. Like Matt Stafford's a star. Beckham's kind of a star. Cooper Kupp's a star. The left tackle's a star. Whitworth, their defensive tackle, their edge, and their corner are all stars. And the quarterback. I forgot to mention the quarterback. And then the Bengals, it's their quarterback, their receiver, and like their safety. Like Uzi is very good. I don't know if I'd say he's a star. Like he's a star in the game, yeah, but he's not Jalen Ramsey. He's not that far from Jalen Ramsey, but he's not Jalen Ramsey. Joe Mixon also is worth noting there, though. We are about 40 minutes into the video, and I have just given you a rundown of the game, not how the game's played, but of the two teams that are playing. I haven't given you a single prediction of what's going to happen yet, and I'm going to do that now. I'm actually going to try and put a timestamp in this one. I tried to click to this part where I actually give my predictions. So I'm going to pause for just a second. I'm going to collect my breath. Yeah, I'm about ready now. Alright. Hello, everybody. We are now at the part where I give you my predictions on what's going to happen. Now, there's a few ways this game could go. This game could obviously be a absolutely just super boring game in terms of just not high scoring, super low, because both defenses are really, really good. And both offenses could just have, the jitters, which happens in super big games like this. But what I think is going to happen, like I said, I could either be the jitters and the Rams just dominate the whole game because their defense is just a bit more suffocating, in my opinion. Or it's a high scoring affair, or it's a back and forth game that's medium scoring. Personally, I think it's going to be the middle. I could see it being any of the three easily. But if it's a low scoring game, it's going to be dominated by the Rams. And if it's a high scoring game, it could go either way, but I give it advantage to the Bengals because they have a slightly more high scoring favorable offense. Slightly. And then if it's the middle, honestly, it's the Rams, but my prediction is I think that the game is going to fall into this middle category, like I said. And I think that the Bengals will actually win, even though I just said if this falls in this category, the Rams are most likely to win. Bengals are going to win. Said it. Bengals, go Bengals. Go Bengals, the team of Providence. Yeah, Providence, yeah, I think it's the word. They're going to win. The final score prediction, you ask me, 26-23. Bengals. And then McPherson with the game-winning kick, because I feel like the game is going to be tied for a good bit, and I feel like it's going to be more kicking than people think, because the defenses are good. But the offenses also are done by, an electric groupings and also pretty good play callers, especially in the Rams. The Rams just get people open. So they're going to move the ball. The ball is going to be moved, but the question is if they get the ball in the end zone or not. So I feel like there's going to be a fair amount of kicking. I think the kicking advantage goes to the... I forgot to mention the kickers. I can't believe it. The kicker's advantage goes to the Bengals. Matt Gay missed a 40-something yard field goal the other day. Not wide, he just didn't kick it far enough. And then Evan McPherson stretched and said, all right, guys, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to the NFC Championship, AFC Championship, one of the two. Yeah, AFC. He called his shot, basically. He's like a rookie. I give the advantage to the rookie who's shown he's got unlimited potential, but he's got potential. He can do it. He's got something. He's got it, So I give the Bengals the edge in that department. However, the Rams have the edge in the punter department, with Johnny Hecker being one of the best punters in the league for a long time. I apologize for that. I kind of want to see it be in this kind of game. I want to see it break records. I want to see it be a wild, just it's an absolute of a game. I don't want to see it this. If it does, that's fine, but I don't really want to see it like that. Middle ground is what I see more likely. This is the 26-23 is what I'm thinking. I think, I just have a premonition, I think that somebody's going to score 2 touchdowns. It might be Cooper Kupp, it might be Jamar Chase, it might be T. Higgins, might be Joe Mixon. I also have a feeling that Skowronek like the number 4 receiver for the Rams is going to score a touchdown. I don't know why. I just got a feeling. I've got a feeling the Bengals are going to struggle with their right guard and right tackle especially. But in a weird way, I have a feeling they are going to adapt in the second half and play serviceable in those departments enough to let the other parts of their team be highlighted. So like I said, I think the Bengals are going to win because I think I could see the game happening to start off. This is obviously not how the game is going to go because I'm predicting it, which means that that's not actually going to how it's going to happen. But we're going to say it anyway, so bear with me. The game is going to start off with Cooper Kupp scoring 2 immediate touchdowns. The Bengals are going to realize that they are down 2 touchdowns. They are going to score a touchdown and then a field goal and make it to 10-14. And then after that, the Rams are going to make it 17-10, and then the Bengals are going to score another touchdown and tie the game, and then the Rams are going to kick a field goal. And then at that point it's 20-17, and at that point, I don't know. I'm going to continue with what I was saying. So the Bengals score another touchdown. No, they don't score another. They kick another field goal. Then the Rams kick a field goal and then kick another field goal. No, kick a field goal and then the Bengals kick another field goal. I got kind of sidetracked in my thought process there, because I got kind of sideways thinking because I feel like the game's gonna explode. I feel like the game's gonna end up over here. I'm really thinking for this. Like I said, start off with two Cooper Kupp touchdowns. The Bengals are going to be playing catch up. I forgot to mention a couple things in this prediction I mentioned just a second ago. I think Matt Stafford might throw a pick, and I think Joe Burrow might fumble the ball from Von Miller, like a strip sack. Fairly confident in those. Von Miller just teleports. I'm pretty certain that Von Miller is gonna get a strip sack. I'm also fairly certain that the running backs for the Rams are not gonna have a great day. What else am I missing? It was a 26-23 for the Bengals. That's what I said. Probably get me wrong. I think that was it. We're about 50 minutes in, so this better be it. Thank you all for watching. Go Bengals. Yeah. That's it. I'll probably do not a recap, but we'll be talking about more football soon. Draft comes around every in a little while. But until then, I've got we're gonna talk about the past season and whatnot. Maybe if y'all want it. If not, you just hear about draft and whatnot. Thank you all for watching. Good night, sweet dreams. I hope everyone who's watching this is already asleep and has not gotten to this part. But if they have, watch another one of my videos, please. I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. Good night.